fans, welcome back to the MMA Wiz Kid, where a kid calls the fight before the pros do. I'm Brody, your host, and joining me as always, he's eaten 47 snacks before this episode, he's never turned down food, and he definitely didn't bring any for me, Snack Goblin!
And I'm not sharing any either, okay?
Hurtful. So today we're recapping UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Vallejos and looking ahead at UFC Fight Night Evloev versus Murphy.
Ooh.
But first, we have some UFC announcements coming your way.
Woo! Let's hear it. What's up?
All right, first one. Aljamain Sterling is taking on Yusuf Zalal in a featherweight main event on April 25th.
Ooh, big fight. Where's that at? Do you know?
Made at Apex.
Okay. What's next?
Well, we got some more fights for the UFC Perth card, and they're pretty big. Co-main event. Beneil Dariush versus Quinlan Salkild.
Ooh, man, the UFC's on a veteran versus a newbie. Trying to see if these new guys are going to take over.
And these new guys really are taking over, though.
Man, well, we need Dariush and we need Aljo to step up big here and to put these guys back down a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, what fight you got?
Also on that card, Tai Tuivasa versus Sean Sharp.
Ooh.
Bam Bam.
Ooh, Bam Bam. Coming back. What's he on, a 5-fight losing streak?
I think it's 6 now.
6. Fun to watch, and we'll always tune in.
And he's also fighting Sean Sharp, who's 0-2 in the UFC, and he's lost to Junior Taffa and Steven Asplund. And they're both by finish.
Hey,
in
well,
the
that's
third
a
round.
perfect candidate to fight against Tai Tuivasa.
Do you think that Tai Tuivasa is going to get the win?
I don't know.
Well,
when
yeah.
you've lost 6 in a row, you can only hope that you get the win. But at this point, I'm sure there's a lot of
Well, I
doubt
think
that creeps in.
there's a rumor going around that if Tai Tuivasa loses this fight, he's getting kicked out of the UFC.
He probably puts his gloves down in the center of the ring.
Yeah. Also on the card, Steve Erceg is taking on Oban Elliott. A little confused on that one because Erceg's ranked number 10 in the flyweight division, and Oban Elliott's coming off 2 straight losses.
And Oban Elliott's not ranked, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, interesting fight, but maybe it's because of the destination and where it's at. That's who they could put together.
Also on the card, Cam Ralston's taking on Robert Bryce. Cam Ralston's the one that beat Cody Brundage at UFC 325, and Robert Bryce's the one that beat Brad Tavares at UFC Fight Night in Paris last year.
Another big fight. Those are some exciting fights.
There's still one more on that card.
But wait,
There's more. Also on that card, Jacob Alcoon is taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Jacob Alcoon coming off a win at UFC 325 over Torres Finney, the one that had the least amount of strikes in the UFC fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That very boring fight.
But he's taking on Gerald Meerschaert. He's not been looking so good.
Hey, but Jared Meerschaert, you can never count him out. He's got, over 50 fights?
He's on a 4-fight losing streak.
But he's a fighter. Granted, his win-loss record's probably 50%.
Well, he's got 36 wins and 23 losses.
Okay, so I was wrong. He's more like a 60-40 type of guy.
Yeah.
Hey, but he's a jiu-jitsu specialist, so if he doesn't get knocked out, maybe he'll submit you, right?
Good point. All right, next fight night. The main event for that fight night is Arnold Allen taking on Mikizael the Dalmatian Costa in a featherweight main event.
I like that. That's going to be a good striker's delight unless Costa tries to take him down.
Yeah. Well, Costa really hasn't shown wrestling in his last 2 fights because they just been knockouts and they haven't gone out in the first round.
If it's a striker's fight, people are going to really be enjoying that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully this is the Arnold Allen that wins and not the Arnold Allen that just lost to John Silva.
Yeah, but you were just watching a fight of Arnold Allen. Who did he fight that you were watching that was a really close fight?
Versus Arnold?
Yeah, that's a big fight. If he can fight like that, it'd be a great fight, I think, between him and Costa.
Yeah, he's definitely got to defend all the wrestling, though.
Yep.
All right. Another fight night that just got announced in Maku, China on May 30th is Song Yadong taking on Davison, the former flyweight champion Figueiredo.
Ooh, all the way in China. That's a big fight. I'm excited about that.
I guess they must have really high expectations for Song Yadong because, well, Figueiredo is coming off a very big, very boring. The most boring fight you can imagine, but boringer than that.
Wow. So, boring's here and it was down here?
And that fight was against Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 324. Terrible featured prelim, by the way. Alright, co-main event for that card. Zhao Mingyang versus Alonzo Menefield. Both coming off losses. Zhao Mingyang coming off a loss to Johnny Walker at UFC China last year in August. And Alonzo Menefield coming off a knockout loss to Volkan Oezdemir.
Mingyang, that's the guy who fought against Anthony Smith.
Beat him up.
Okay, he did that nasty elbows on the ground. So that should be a big fight. That's light heavyweight?
Yes.
Okay. Any other big fights on that card?
Yes, before the co-main event, Sergey Pavlovich is coming back and he's taking on the Tower Taliesin Teixeira.
Who else is on the card?
Well, before that, Alex Perez is coming back and fighting for the second time this year, and he's taking on Suma Darji, who's coming off a win over Jesus Aljuara in UFC 326.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of big fights coming up over these next couple months. Anything else you want to highlight before we jump into last week's fight? There's one more. But wait,
there's more. The week before the UFC White House event is UFC Fight Night. Belal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim.
I like that fight.
High stakes for Belal Muhammad. Number 4 versus number 10.
And now Gabriel Bonfim, he looks good. Can he stop a takedown? Can he keep Belal off of him? And if the answer is yes, that guy's power is dangerous.
Dude, he doesn't really need to defend a takedown because Belal comes in and then boom, flying knee like he did against Randy Brown.
Oof. That's true. That was a flying.
Oof. I guess it heebie-jeebies.
The heebie-bud-jeebies. You added that bud in there. Because that's real. That's real bejeebies. Well, some huge fights coming up. But why don't you go ahead and recap last week's fight? Who was the main event from last week?
In the main event, Kevin Vallejos knocked out Josh Emmett at the first round. Or, as I like to say it in my Bruce Buffer voice, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, referee I don't know called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes 33 seconds of round number 1. Declaring the winner by TKO, Kevin Vallejos.
Is it too much that they're comparing this guy to Ilia Topuria?
No, I don't think
that's a good comparison?
I think that's a good comparison.
Wow.
Well, because undefeated in the UFC, he's really good in striking, so I'd say it's right to compare him to.
How's his ground game?
Has not really showed it in his UFC career.
Because he's just dominating people on the feet.
I don't think he really has a ground game.
I bet he does. He has to. But why would they be, like, to compare him against the Ilia Topuria is saying something. Like, everybody's doing it. You think it's warranted?
Well, I agree with that. And I think the loser of Evloev versus Murphy fights Vallejos.
Wow. So he's going to get up there that fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that fight next. But what's going to happen with Josh Emmett? Does he become a gatekeeper?
I don't know if he retired or not. I mean, but to have 3 straight losses, only won 1 of his last 6 fights, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's very
And
rough.
now he's getting knocked out. Shows your chin starting to go away. He's getting older. How old is he?
41.
Okay, so he's in his 40s.
Well,
Father Time is undefeated.
Well, there's also a 17-year age difference.
Yeah, but that's fighting, right?
Yeah. But what do you think we do with him, though?
I think he turns into a gatekeeper.
He's the number 14. Maybe he fights Danny Gate.
But it's a gatekeeper into the top 15. You know what I mean? Like, he'll probably start facing more of these newcomers, and the more losses he gets, the more the UFC is just going to be like, hey, man, thank you, but pack your bags.
Pack your bags, because you're moving out, and you don't have the choice.
Hey, that's what it is. It's what have you done for me lately?
Well, he cut off the beard. Thanks, Josh, for listening. But that didn't work. Sorry, Josh. I guess the beard wasn't your kryptonite. That's just you. Yourself is the kryptonite.
Who is the co-main event?
In the co-main event, Jillian Robertson defeated Amanda Lemos by unanimous decision. I really hope that she got that kill.
Yeah, but she didn't. But great fight, right? I mean, Jillian Robertson is now
up for title contention.
She's at the top now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what does she need? One more win, and she can probably get there, or she might even get that fight.
She's number 4 in the world. I mean, She could fight Zhang Weili because right now Tatiana Suarez is booked against Lupita Godinez on April 11th at the UFC 327. Verna Jandarova is already booked to fight Tabitha Ricci at UFC Fight Night, Moicano versus Duncan. And
What about the champion? Who's she booked against?
nobody. She's open.
Jillian Robertson could just slide right on in there, right?
Well, they also say that Zhang Weili does not know when she's coming back.
Maybe she's got an injury?
Or that she's not coming back until November.
Well, I mean, it leaves it open for her, right? She could slide in there. Did she take a lot of damage? Was she like long injury or anything? I don't remember.
Well, I don't think there was an injury at all because if you just wrestled for 25 minutes straight, I don't think there would really be an injury unless she did like 10 submission attempts.
Well, but you're fighting Amanda Lemos. You know, you take some heavy shots, it can hurt, put you back a little bit.
And Amanda Lemos lost to Zhang Weili at UFC 292, Sterling versus O'Malley.
Well, let's talk about the champion for a second. Who do you think she gets next? Is she going to wait until November to fight against Zhang Weili? Or
No, I do not think she's going to fight.
She's going to fight in these next
I
couple
think
of
she's
months.
probably going to fight Jillian Robertson because she says she wants to be the most active this year than she's ever been in her career. Because last year, 4 of her 5 fights got canceled last year.
Oh, man. So she's ready to fight.
Yeah, you go through all those weight cuts, you're ready to fight, and then Dana White calls you in and say, hey, sorry about this, but the opponent backed out. Sorry, I can't go through the weight cut, bye. Cool.
That's a bad day. But yeah, hopefully 2026 is different for her. Amanda Lemos, obviously, she'll get some big fights still coming up. But who was before Jillian?
Before that, the Hulk Kutalaba got the guillotine submission over Umar Sy in the first round. Well, the Hulk must have punched the odds really hard because to think that he was a 185 underdog in that fight, and Umar was a 205 favorite.
That thing got to the ground and real fast. Kutalaba took that neck and he ran with it and side tapped so fast. So, I mean, it was probably the fastest tap I've ever seen. And
I mean, it was pretty fast.
Yeah, and so big win for Kutalaba though. He's developing more patience. Wouldn't you say? Like, he's looking good out there. He's not just this maniac going in there trying to just throw bombs.
Well, now he's 9-9-1 in the UFC. Who do you think he fights?
I'd like to see him fight somebody like Alonzo Minifield's Jimmy Crute. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight one of those guys. I think that'd be a good fight. Yeah. I mean, he also has stood in there against Ankalaev. Like, he's been in there with some big names.
And he also lost by knockout.
Yeah.
On both.
Yep.
Oof.
So, we'll see. I mean, big win for him, though. Let's do a quick rapid-fire round to recap the end of last week, and then we'll jump into next week. Sound good?
All right. Jose Miguel Delgado beat Andre Fili by split decision. Split decision, wonder why. Also on that card, Freaky Rahiki beat Harry Houdini Hardwick by TKO doctor stoppage in the second round because he broke his jaw.
Ooh, it was bad.
Ooh.
Yeah. What else?
Also on that card, Mitabik Orolbai beat Chris Curtis, and he gave him the most boring whooping I've ever seen.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen somebody dominate somebody that bad? Like, I guess it was like a Hamzat performance, the way he just dominated him.
No, but
Chris Curtis couldn't
He
get
landed 17 takedowns.
Yeah. Ooh, how many strikes? He probably landed more takedowns than strikes.
He only landed 18.
Okay.
So he was very close to having the least amount.
Oh, that's got to be one of the worst fights to be on the other end of. I mean, I'd like to see Chris Curtis fight strikers. UFC needs to put Chris Curtis against guys that are going to be a similar style. Like these guys that are grinding you and taking you down, those guys are climbing up the rankings because of their style.
Well, the last 3 fighters he lost to were all wrestlers, like Mitabik Orolbai, Roman Kopylov, and Brendan Allen.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I don't know how much longer he's going to be in the UFC. But he's making that cut now to 170, so that can't be easy.
I mean, it looks very muscly, though.
Yeah.
But he looks very skinny. I can see his bones.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Chris
Makes me want to
Curtis.
throw up.
Who else? You also had a couple other rapid fires before we jump over.
Eric Anders retired against Brad Tavares because, he beat Brad Tavares. And that's when he retired.
Go out on top. That's a good way to go.
Yeah, he went in the main event against Thiago Santos right back in the day.
Yeah. Any other fights you want to talk about before we jump on over?
Well, let's just jump on over.
All right, so where are we jumping to?
London.
London?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the main event in London?
In the main event, Star Evloev is taking on Lerone the Miracle Murphy.
I like that fight. Who's going to win?
You asked me the question.
I always want to see.
You will now suffer my wrath.
Oh, no.
Watch it, son.
Big fight, I guess. Murphy just fought against who?
Aaron Pico.
Pico's got a wrestling background. Got Murphy to the ground. But Murphy was able to get back up on several occasions, right?
Yeah.
Can he get back up against a...
I mean, I think he can actually, because Mosar, he's got to land some strikes before he gets the takedown, because watching his fight against Arnold Allen, he doesn't really necessarily strike when he takes his opponents down. So I think the keys to victory for Lerone are just need to control the pace of Mosar, keep him in the middle of the octagon is the main key, because looking at Mosar's fight against Aljamain couldn't get off the cage. So that fight was very boring.
Yeah, well, but that's two wrestlers going at it, right? Like now you got Lerone Murphy who's ready to take his head off.
Well, you better be very careful because Mosar, he's an animal on the ground. And fun fact, all 9 of Mosar's fights have gone to the decision. And I watched some of the fights and they were very boring.
Yeah, well, he's got that style where he's just non-stop pressing you, trying to get you taken down.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of damage, and that's why he hasn't gotten a title fight yet, right?
Yeah.
Because the entertainment level's not really there.
Yeah.
He's good, he wins, but do a lot of people want to see that as a champion?
Good point.
And so Lerone Murphy's had some awesome wins.
Yeah.
That knockout against Aaron Pico, his last one,
Yeah.
really has helped his claim of getting closer to the title. But let's talk about Evloev. I don't feel like he's fought a lot. Who has he fought recently that you want to highlight?
Well, in Mosar's last fight, he beat Aljamain Sterling by unanimous decision at UFC 310, Pantoja versus Asakura. And before that, he beat Arnold Allen by unanimous decision at UFC 297, Strickland versus Duplessis 1. And before that, he beat Dan Ige by unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Rosenstruck. And before that, he beat Hakeem Douadou at UFC 263, Sanya versus Vittori 2.
Wow. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
But he's losing rounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not winning and just dominating all these guys. He's losing rounds.
I mean, his last 3 fights have been his most difficult fights. Like, when he fought Lopez, he almost got finished by Lopez. And when he fought Arnold, he was just getting pieced up. I mean, he just got hit by monster knees. But he put his hand down, though, which made the ref stop it. Which I don't really think is a rule anymore. You had to put your knee down. And when he fought Aljamain, it was just the wrestling exchanges because Aljamain landed some good takedowns, but Mosar got up quickly, though.
Yeah. Well, it should be an interesting fight. It could also be a very boring fight, right? It could be like that Chris Curtis fight all over again.
Because if Lerone Murphy doesn't get this in the center of the octagon, it's going to be a very boring fight, folks.
Yeah.
So watch the first round if you're watching it live. And if it stays on the cage the entire first round, then it's going to be a boring fight, folks.
You heard it here. The Wiz Kid is calling it a boring one if the first round is boring. So we'll have to tune in and wait and just see what happens.
Yes.
Who's the co-main event?
The co-main event, Luke Riley is taking on the Texas Kid, Michael Oswell.
That's a big fight.
I know. So do you know anything about this Luke Riley, sir?
I don't.
Well, he trains on the same team as Paddy Pimblett. He was a big star in Cage Warriors.
Is this his first or second fight in the UFC?
This is his second fight.
Okay, I remember his last fight.
In his last fight, he beat Bogdan Grad by knockout in the second round at UFC Fight Night Sarukian versus Hooker.
Well, what about the guy he's fighting?
He's fighting Michael Oswell, who I'd say had the best Dana White's Contender Series fight I've ever seen.
Now, has he fought any other time in the UFC, or was that his only fight so far?
He's had 2 fights in the UFC, and he's 1-1 in the UFC so far. His only loss in the UFC was to Balaji Oki and lost by unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night, Blanchfield versus Barber. And in his last fight, he beat Lucas Almeida at UFC Fight Night Oliveira versus Gamrot.
Should be a big fight then. I mean, is he anywhere the star that Paddy is, or is he getting the rub from Paddy because they're teammates?
I think he's on the verge to being a rising star like Paddy.
What else?
Before the co-main event, Michael Venom Page is taking on the rising contender, Sam Patterson.
Ooh, he's long. He's a good striker. He's got a great ground game. Is he going to be able to keep up with the speed, though, of Michael Venom Page?
I mean, he might. He's got a long reach. But have you ever seen Michael Venom Page, like, truly lose a fight? Even though on his record it says that he lost to Ian Machado Gary at UFC 303.
Well, he dances so much. Sometimes I think when he loses a fight, it's because there's just not a lot of action. The reason he lost to Ian Machado Gary was simply because he got outstruck in very few margins because neither of them threw a lot of strikes.
I mean, Michael Venom Page is coming off a win over Jared Cannonier at middleweight at UFC 319, Duplessis versus Chimaev. I mean, he was pretty dominant in the first 2 rounds, but he lost that 3rd round, definitely.
Yeah, but, I mean, wouldn't you say this is a step back, fighting Sam Patterson?
Because Cannonier was the number 7 in middleweight, and he beat Jared. He was immediately in the top 10 in middleweight.
But now at 170, what's he ranked?
Number 15.
What is Sam Patterson ranked?
Not ranked.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I think he's got a lot to prove here just because the name of Sam Patterson is not that big, so he wants to go out there and just put on a show for the UFC to earn and to keep that 15 holding strong, right?
And Sam Patterson is on a 4-fight winning streak, and in his last fight he beat Trey the Truth Waters by TKO in the 1st round at UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Vallejos.
Yeah, I mean, he looks good. He's long, keeps his chin way up in the air, so I can see a Michael Venom Page just finding that chin early. Now, he lost in the UFC early, didn't he?
Yes, in his first fight, he lost to Yana Usmaz by knockout in the 1st round. Ooh, it was gnarly. But since then, he's beat the light kings of Trey, the Truth Waters, Kiefer Crosby, and Danny Barlow.
So big names.
Yeah.
Not any lightweight chumps or anything like
Yeah.
that. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that would be an interesting fight. Who else is on this card?
Before that, Iwo Barkanowski is taking on former heavyweight and former football player Austin Lane.
Austin Lane's making a weight cut now to 205. He is a big man.
He weighed 265 in his last fight. And that means he has to shed 70 pounds.
Isn't he like 6'5" or 6'6" too?
Yeah, he's 6'5".
Wow. That's got to be a huge weight cut. But hopefully his chin stays intact and he doesn't deplete himself so much that his chin is just...
But to cut 65 or 70 pounds, that's definitely going to deplete him. And that might mess best with his brain and it might keep his chin up, though.
Yeah. Well, what happens when you weight cut, a lot of times you get really dehydrated, so then your brain gets dehydrated. And then when you rehydrate, the brain doesn't get enough fluid around it. And so that's why these guys who make these big weight cuts, they struggle at times. It's because when they get hit,
you mean like Cameron Smotherman?
Exactly.
Oh, it did. Nice. I need to take a nap.
Well, I'm excited about this fight. I don't know anything about this Iwo Barkanowski. Can you tell us about him?
Excuse me, you do not know anything about Iwo Barkanowski after UFC 323?
Tell me who he fought in that fight.
That was this decade's Chet Congo versus Pat Barry.
He's like a 40-year-old man at times. Talking about Chet Congo versus Pat Barry. Talk to us about that fight. Who did he fight?
Ivo Aslan in UFC 323. I mean, that fight was just crazy.
That was the Rock'em Sock'em Road
Yeah,
fight.
right? First Ivo got knocked down. Ivo tried to finish the fight, but then Ivo got up and they knocked down Ivo Aslan, but then Ivo got up and then he knocked down Ivo again, and then they just started going to the cage. So if you imagine that you're at the cage, Ivo was right here at the cage, and Ivo was right here, right in front of him. But then, right hand, boom! He went out! And 1, 2, that was it!
That was it. It's all over, folks.
It is all over!
Who's that? Mike Goldberg?
Yeah, Mike Goldberg.
That's pretty good. Who's the fight before that?
Before that, Roman Dolidze is taking on Christian Leroy Duncan. That's going to be a good fight right there.
I'm excited about that fight.
Number 11 versus not ranked. I mean, Christian Leroy Duncan's coming off a 3-fight winning streak, and in his last fight, he knocked out Marco Tulio in the second round. And before that, he knocked out Eric Anders in the first round.
Wow. But is he ranked?
No.
So he's not ranked. Dolidze is ranked. Leroy Duncan's got a lot of upside on him. Like, he seems like he's a top prospect coming into this fight. And if he can get through Dolidze, like, Dolidze just fought against Fluffy Hernandez not too long ago, who was almost at the top of the division. So I'm curious to see where this puts Leroy Duncan if he can get a win over Dolidze.
Yeah, well, I think if Leroy Duncan beats Dolidze, that might put him against some of the top 10 in the middleweight division. Who do you think he would fight, though? Maybe he put him against Rainier de Ritter.
I think that could be a good one, but I think we're looking past Dolidze a little bit. Dolidze might have got ragdolled in his last fight against Fluffy Hernandez, but Dolidze is a monster in there. He is a big man, and if Leroy Duncan doesn't have a ground game, it will get exposed in this fight because Dolidze is like a bear.
Well, his last 2 losses were against Fluffy Hernandez and Nasruddin Imavov, and the fight was a majority decision. It was a pretty close fight, though.
Yeah.
And after Dolidze lost to Imavov, he got 3 straight wins. The first one was over Anthony Smith at UFC 303, Pereira versus Prohaska 2. After that, he beat Kevin Holland by first round TKO doctor stoppage at UFC 307, Pereira versus Roundtree Jr. And after that, he beat Marvin Vettori at UFC Fight Night Vettori versus Dolidze 2.
I just don't know where this kid stores all this information. It's like he's got a slideshow right here on the teleprompter that's not right in front of us that he's reading. Because I'm looking for where you're seeing this stuff and there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's like the bread.
Tell me more.
It's like the invisible bread that we were talking about last week. Oh, you don't understand. Nacho in front of your face.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
There we go. That.
Okay. So that's what it's like. It's like if there were invisible nachos in front of my face, you can see the invisible nachos.
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive. Who's before that?
In the main card opener, Mason Jones is taking on Axel Sola.
Ooh, Mason Jones is fun.
And in his last fight, he beat Vallejos by knockout in the second round at UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Bahia. Before that, he beat Jeremy Stevens at UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Figueiredo.
Let's talk about Axel Sola.
He's coming off a win over Reese McKee at UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Bahia. Same card, though.
Okay.
Same card that Mason Jones last fought on. So.
All I know is Mason Jones' last fight against Oki, when he was about done. Like, Oki had him, I mean, he was ground and pounding him.
Oh, yeah, in the first round.
And then he came back and ended up beating him, I think, second round.
Yeah, like this. Ah! And then he got on the ground, boom, 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 boom. It is all over, folks.
It was a great fight. And so what I learned in that fight is that he's a warrior. He can take some damage, and he can keep on fighting. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited about that one. Who else do you want to highlight before we jump into some picks?
Before that fight, Nathaniel Wood is taking on the UFC debuter, Lucien Quita.
Nathaniel Wood's good. He's a fun fighter.
I mean, after looking at his last fight, which he won at UFC 321, Aspinall versus Gane against Jose Miguel Delgado, who just beat Andre Fili by split decision.
So he's a great striker. He struggles with the ground game.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to be a good fight. It does seem like Nathaniel Wood's the underdog here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a Nathaniel Wood fan.
Same.
I'm excited. This card's going to be fun.
Pretty much.
You ready to jump into picks?
Yeah, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fans are ready. The fighters are ready. The Wiz Kid is ready. So make some noise.
If you are ready!
Woo! All right. Starting from the bottom and we're working our way to the top. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, Lucien Quita versus Nathaniel Wood.
I'm going to have to know the newbie, Lucien Quita.
Wow, you're picking against Nathaniel Wood. I'm surprised. I'm going against you there. All right, Mason Jones versus Axel Sola.
I'm going with Mason Jones.
Good pick. Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva.
I'm going with Curtis Campbell.
How about Christian Leroy Duncan versus Roman Dolidze?
I'm definitely going with Christian Leroy Duncan.
I got a feeling Dolidze is going to dominate him on the ground. Iwo Baranowski versus Austin Lane.
I'm going to go with Iwo Barkanowski.
Michael Page versus Sam Patterson.
I'm going with MVP Michael Venom Page.
That should be a big win for him. Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell.
I'm going with Luke Riley.
Mozart Evloev versus Lerone Murphy.
Lerone, the Miracle Murphy!
Now he's the underdog, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he can get that win, obviously he walks right into a fight with Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And a fight with Volkanovski, I think, would be a great fight.
Yeah, that's what the fans want. They definitely don't want to see Evloev versus Alexander Volkanovski because that would be a real boring fight.
It's true, but I guess that's why we like the UFC too. Is the best fight the best, right?
Yeah.
Great job today. I just want you to know I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So Brody cuts and edits this whole video. He makes the whole script. He then gets the video. He uploads it onto YouTube. He puts all the captions. He's doing all this by himself at 11 years old. So I just want to say I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work. And I know everybody on the other side of the screen says the same thing. Anything you got to say?
Please remember to like and subscribe and remember to ring the bell so you don't miss out on all our videos. We'll see you after the fight. God bless.